what's up, fight fans? Welcome to Mr. Mustache MMA News. Today, I want to discuss this Saturday's main event at UFC 299. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to continue getting more MMA content by yours truly and help the channel grow. All right, guys, getting right into it. We got Sugar Sean O'Malley defending his belt for the very first time in a rematch against Marlon Vera, the only guy to defeat Sean O'Malley back in 2020. I love this fight. I've been waiting for this rematch for a long time. I knew since their first fight that these guys would definitely fight again in the future. They've been on a collision course for this rematch. It's pretty crazy that's happening as a title fight and with Sean as the champion too. It's just crazy how both of their careers have turned since their first meeting back at UFC 252. You got Sean, who hasn't lost since then. He's pretty much finished everybody. He had the decision against Peter Yan, which was highly controversial. He won the belt most recently over Aljamain Sterling via knockout in the second round. Sean, who's looked just better and better and better every single time he's gone out there. And you have Marlon Vera, who has just been an ultimate veteran contender of the bantamweight division. He is just a fucking killer. The dark horse. A guy that, when he lands, when he actually decides to throw, he's one of the most devastating knockout artists in the history of the bantamweight division. And after his victory over Sean back in 2020, he had that fight against Jose Aldo where he just got outclassed, right? Against Jose, one of the greats, one of the GOATs. But followed it up with a 4-fight win streak over guys like Davey Grant, Frankie Edgar, Rob Font, Dominic Cruz, where Dominic Cruz, he was going in there, he was faster, he was touching Cheeto, but every single time Cheeto landed on him, he dropped Dom, right? And then finally in the fourth round connected with that head kick that just sent Cruz into the next week, right? But now, ever since he had his most recent loss to Corey Sandhagen, right? Cheeto has had a lot of hate, right? A lot of that hype kind of dwindled away behind him. And I think the only reason why this fight with Sean is so validated, he's coming off that win against Pedro, which was a great fight, right? I think it was at UFC 292 as well. Phenomenal fight, back and forth, but he went out there, landed the better shots, better cardio, and he went out there and just, by the end, he was just pulling away with that victory. He was just landing the more shots, just the more pressure, and you just saw Pedro by the end of the fight on his back foot rather than his front foot, right? And with this fight against Sean, right, the first one ended so weird with that weird leg kick, which, a lot of people say, it doesn't count. Even Sean, he even says that he's still, undefeated and this and that. Like it or not, that's a victory, right? Marlon got that fair and square, a fight's a fight, a knockout's a knockout, a victory is a victory, and he went out there and did that to Sean the first time. And then the second time, Corey Sandhagen went out and put out a good blueprint on how to beat Cheeto. Sean's got to do exactly that, right? He just has to get on his bicycle, stick with the lateral movements, don't get into these phone booth firing situations, don't stand in the pocket and trade with Marlon, because that's where Sean is not going to succeed. That's where he's going to fuck up. He literally has to fight this perfect fight where he has to just stay on his bicycle in this lateral movement and just not stop moving and not be stationary for almost a single second of this fight, right? Cheeto, who's got this crazy durable chin, so I don't really see Sean being able to put him out or knock him out, especially early. Where you have Cheeto, all he really has to do is just stalk, cut off the cage, hopefully find some range against Sean, not bite on his feints, because Sean, that's what most of his game is his feint work, right? So Cheeto just has to, and that's exactly what happened in that first fight too. The second Cheeto stopped biting on those feints and he was able to just kind of go into the fire, you saw him find success. And I think that's kind of the recipe for success again in this fight as well. He just has to just do his very best to cut Sean off so Sean just can't use that lateral movement. Back him up and then get him into those fire exchanges. Get it on the ground. Make it dirty. And I can see Cheeto finding himself a third round knockout head kick where he just catches Sean front kick. Marlon Vera's kicks, knees, his front kicks up the middle, his head kicks. Just fuck, man. He's put guys out time and time again. It's crazy to think he's only 31 years old. He's been in the UFC. I've been watching him at least 7 years since his Brad Pickett fight, I think was the first time I saw him fight. And he had been in the UFC since UFC 180. Cheeto's been in the UFC for 10 years, right? I mean, he's been out there. He's been doing the damn thing. Only 31 years old. Still has a lot of prime left in him. And, I mean, if he goes out there and finishes Sean again in this fight, I mean, we're going to be in the Marlon Cheeto era. Corey Sandhagen, he's closely watching this fight. He's hoping that Marlon wins this fight because if Cheeto wins this fight, Sandhagen probably gets that title shot instead of fighting Umar, right? And Chael Sonnen even said the same thing. If Corey was smart, he would have Merab and Umar fight each other. Or I think he was saying Sean would. If Sean O'Malley was smart, if he wins this fight, he has Merab and Umar fight each other for the number one title contender fight. That would be really good. And if Vera wins this fight, Corey Sandhagen is probably the most logical decision to get that title shot next just because of his dominating victory over Cheeto. It's weird that was a split decision there. I don't know who that fucking judge was. But with this fight, man, I mean, Sean, he literally just has to fight a perfect fight for 25 minutes. And he's fully capable of doing that. He has the cardio, the precision, the striking, the length, the footwork, distance control, all of that, right? It's just all about not getting hit with the devastating shots of Marlon Cheeto Vera. For Cheeto, he just has to go out there, stalk, wait for his moment, but execute on his moment, right? And that's where he seems to fail, is where he just gets overly patient, overly hesitant, and just doesn't pull the trigger. And that's where Sean can capitalize, right? But if Cheeto can actually go out there, bite down on his mouthpiece, and cut Sean off in the cage, it could be a very interesting fight. Guys, let me know in the comment section what you guys think of this title fight and of this rematch. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. Sorry for my voice. I'm sick as fuck. I'm trying to get these videos done as soon as possible, but I'm dying here this week, guys, so I'm doing my best. Mr. Mustache, MMA News out. Let's fucking go, fight fans.